You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of the past week and a couple of things that you can get involved in. First, applications being accepted now for the next Lubbock 101 Citizens Academy. It's several classroom meetings and tours to give you a real idea of how municipal government and all of its services and operations really work. Enrollment is limited, but you can get that info on the city's website. And the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce's annual Legislative Appreciation Luncheon is Tuesday, February 22nd over at the Centerpoint Event Center. We get an overview of the legislative work of the last year from Senator Charles Perry and Representative Dustin Burrows. Representative John Furlow will be honored for his work as he wraps up his political career. There is a cost. You can call the Chamber for more info on all that. The deadline to register to vote in the March primary for Mr. Furlow's replacement and everyone else in the statewide races has now come and gone. The Texas Department of Information Resources actually launched an app last week to help you keep track of all your government-issued IDs and such. But as KAMC's Maggie Glenn found out, Texans still can't use something convenient like that to register to vote.
Texans can use TXT to officially renew or replace their driver's license or their state ID and renew their vehicle registration.
A new digital assistant called TXT is aiming to make it more convenient for Texans to keep track of their license and registration.
Once you've set up your secure account, you'll get notifications through the app that it's time to renew.
Meanwhile, voting registration remains offline.
Everybody who's a new voter must actually fill out a paper registration.
Earlier this month, the Secretary of State's office says it ran into a paper supply chain issue and said it would only be able to send the League of Women Voters a quarter of the voter registration cards the nonprofit requested. The state was able to fulfill the request days later.
I don't know what changed, but they did end up sending us the voter registration forms.
The league says an online option could have easily solved the problem, which 42 states already offer.
We do have the technology. We just don't have the will in the legislature to pass this very needed update to our voter registration process.
All elements of the voting process have become more contentious and public opinion divided among partisan lines. You increasingly see more Republican skepticism.
With Republicans holding a majority at the state level, political experts say the only way Texas could see online voter registration soon is if it was passed at the federal level.
It's going to have to be something coming out of the Democratic majorities in Washington right now.
In Austin, Maggie Glenn, KMAC News.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Let's spend 5 good minutes with Texas Secretary of State John Scott, who joins us. Now, could there be a safe way, based on what you know now, to let Texans register to vote online at some point in the future, you think?
Well, it's interesting because registering to vote online is already done over at the Department of Public Safety, and the vast number of our actual new registrations come through folks who come to get their license. And so it is incredible the job the Department of Public Safety is doing registering people, and it is completely online. It is an automated process.
And people forget about that point there as well.
So we believe there's a safe way that
Sure.
it's being done currently by the state of Texas.
Good to see you in here, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
What brings you up to these parties?
Well, it came up and did a town hall with Chairman Burrows and was able to visit with Senator Perry and a number of wonderful folks from the Lubbock area. What a great, great area.
Yeah.
Great city.
You've had a lot on your plate since taking the job. I know forensic audits are now sort of the law after elections. Now, can you explain kind of what those are and sort of the process that goes into doing that or will go into doing that here in the future?
Sure. We've identified as a state 4 counties, the two largest Democratic-controlled counties and the 2 largest Republican-controlled counties. And in the 2020 election, that represented about 35% of the election, of the electorate. And so what we're doing is going back to that 2020 election and confirming that the things that are required by our state and by federal law were actually done. And where we find they were not done, we're going to dig much deeper to find out what, if any, consequences arose or affected the election.
And will that make any more work for Lubbock County elections of folks or anything like that going forward?
You know, Lubbock County is kind of I mean, they're the kid in class you didn't want to have because they're always got the highest score on every test. They do a phenomenal job doing elections in Lubbock County, but we think that what we develop out of it will possibly lead to policy changes. Where we think there are some, we will recommend them to the legislators to see what they need to do.
And you talked a little bit with Chairman Burrows and others while you're up here about election integrity. That's sort of your job now here. But when you hear talk still about elections being stolen, what do you say to those folks to help them feel confident that their votes now and in the future are being counted properly?
Well, I would start with one thing. If they don't vote, they don't have to worry about their vote not being counted. It isn't going to count. So first and foremost, if you're eligible to vote, vote. Second thing is, we have an incredible amount of tools at our disposal to identify fraudulent votes and to address those situations. Has it happened before? Yes. I mean, we had a county commissioner over in Smith County, Tyler, Texas, that recently pled guilty to voter fraud. So are there episodes of it? I think there's always probably been that without having any hard proof. But what I would tell you is we have a system that is set up to make it very, very safe, to make sure that only those votes of eligible voters are counted.
There are people who talked about that some of the provisions from Senate Bill 1 might make it harder for people of color who are disabled, or rural Texans even, which is a big thing here, to get out and vote easily. Could that be the case, and how do you work to keep that kind of thing from happening?
Well, from the voter's perspective, the only thing that's really changed, the major thing that's changed, we have a longer time now for the whole state to be able to vote during early voting. So that's part of that set of bills. We now have a provision that is added to the application for ballot by mail that requires the voter to put down their DPS issued identification, their driver's license, their election ID card, or their ID card, or their last four of their Social Security. My recommendation, all voters that are doing those applications for ballot by mail, put both those numbers down there. So that's one thing we're trying to do, is to make sure that whatever number they have in their voter registration file matches up with that. But one of the things the legislature did, which is great, and it's an add-on to everything that existed before this, it allows the voter to go online in a ballot tracker, track my ballot, on texas.gov. If you go there, you can get a link to every one of these things. But it allows the voter, if they want to see where their ballot is, where their application is, where the process is. It's a first. And for many of the things that might have gone wrong, they can absolutely click on that and correct them through another online portal. So instead of making it harder to vote, I think the state has made it much easier to vote for most folks.
There are some instances, I know earlier on, some local folks have been sending out the wrong application form, one of the older ones. Has that been taken care of?
So yes, my understanding is that came from a variety of different sources. And so it may have been from some campaigns that sent some old ones out. It may have been some counties had the old form up. My understanding is everybody is understanding that there is a new form. They can always go to to the Secretary of State's website. We have, and since December 3rd of last year, we've had the new form up for anybody to fill out online and print off. That's something that's important. Each of the individuals have to actually request a form. So in the past, they were just mailed to them. So now they can be mailed to them just by an outside party, like a candidate, a campaign. But they truly, if they're looking for one and they hadn't gotten an application for ballot by mail, they should contact their local election administrator.
We heard a lot about drive-through voting going away, and some folks didn't like that. But am I right that drive-through voting is different than curbside voting, which is still available?
That's a great point. Curbside is absolutely still available. There was 24-hour drive-through voting in the early voting time period in Harris County during the 2020 election. That's the only place in the state that had it. They received a huge grant from an outside entity, but they were the only ones that had this 24-hour voting. No place else in the state of Texas had it. The legislature, as a policy decision, decided they were going to have one set of rules that apply for everyone.
Bottom line, for people who are wondering and reading things off the internet, voting safe in Texas?
Yes, sir.
This guy's on the job. John Scott, Secretary of State, in the great state of Texas. Good to see you, man. Come back through sometime.
Absolutely, Will. Thank you so much for having us, and thanks for what you're doing for the system to make sure people know they can get out and vote safely, and their vote's going to count.
You heard it. And straight ahead, we talked about how local election workers have work to do figuring out these new election rules. Been extra tough on those who help voters who have a difficult time voting for one reason or another. We'll show you next on Talking Points.